Hey, the Bears dropped their second straight game, this one on the road in Indianapolis. Number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, finally threw his first touchdown pass, but it was his 2 interceptions that left Bears fans wanting more. Caleb Williams has not been able to push the ball downfield this season and has not responded well to being pressured on throws at least 15 yards downfield. He has completed just 4 of 25 passes, and when pressured, he's completed just 4 of 21 passes. Williams also has the most off-target passes in the NFL this year. RC, what's the biggest issue with Williams right now?
All of them. And the fact that this team seems to want him to drop back 50 times and throw the football in the game. Look right across the field and see what Anthony Richardson and Shane Steichen went to late in that game. It was a heavy dose of Jonathan Taylor. Why do you have DeAndre Swift? Why do you have receivers that can win right away? It's to get the football out of his hands, and you have to protect him from himself. He's going to revert to what made him a 5-star, to what made him a Heisman Trophy winner, which is run around and try to make plays. Shane Waldron has to run the football, get in play action, and design plays to get the ball out of his hands.
Man, it's hard to be a rookie, unless, of course, you're C.J. Stroud. Let's get you caught up on what C.J. Stroud did in his second year. Of course, I'm referring to last season when he was a rookie and apparently didn't seem like one. This is the Texans and the Vikings. Texans 0-5 all time against the Vikings. See if that changes. 30 seconds into the game, Texans 1st and 20, and Stroud throwing an interception.
Ball gets tipped up in the air by Minnesota's defense. Obviously, they're going to catch it. And then Sam Darnold, 3rd and goal, buys time. Justin Jefferson in the front pylon. Really good job and patience there by Sam Darnold.
Vikings lead 7-0. That's good for a touchdown dance. Under 2 minutes left in the first quarter.
Man,
and
so
Darnold
good.
fires to Aaron Jones for the touchdown.
Yeah, so good. So much coaching that goes on with that easy touchdown for that offense.
Fourth quarter, Darnold on fire, passing it to Johnny Munt for the touchdown. Vikings up 31-7. And just moments later, Stroud looking to push the ball downfield. The Texans 2nd and 12 and sacked by former Texan Jonathan Grenard. Vikings going to win 34-7. Darnold into the day with 181 yards, 4 passing touchdowns. What a day for him. Dan, let's start with that Vikings offense. What stood out for you about Sam Darnold and just overall what they've been able to do?
There's no coach in the NFL that gets defenses into the defense that he wants them to be in more than Kevin O'Connell right now. The way that he is setting a formation and then changing that formation and knowing exactly how you are going to adjust to that and then attacking exactly where he wants to. You saw it with the crosser to Justin Jefferson. You saw it at times when they're running at the nickel, Jalen Petrie, and they're getting 300-pound offensive linemen blocked on him. And then the Aaron Jones touchdown, the way that they wait to the very last second, get out of the huddle, and create leverage. Sam's playing at a really high level, but the clarity that Kevin O'Connell is providing him to do so, he's the best in the NFL right now doing it.
You heard the report from Adam Schefter earlier that the knee should be okay going forward. That's good news for the sympathizers here on the show. Mina, I'm going to make you switch gears, though, to that Minnesota Vikings defense. That might have been even more impressive, holding the Texans to just 7 points. How'd they do it?
They got after him.
I'm just going to copy Dan. There's no coach in the NFL that gets offenses to do what they want better than Brian Flores right now. I mean, good Lord. Outside of Steve Spagnuolo, who do you want against the best quarterbacks in the league? There was a research point going into this weekend about how C.J. Stroud has been amazing against the blitz. The problem with that against Brian Flores' blitzes is they're not like normal blitzes because of the way he uses simulated pressures. You never know who's coming, who's going. He's able to manipulate protections, and then their use of zone coverage on the back end clouds the middle of the field. And that's what really jumped out to me, and that was sort of the net effect. I mean, this C.J. Stroud-led offense has been phenomenal attacking between the numbers. In this game, he had a QBR of 9. That was the worst in the NFL, throwing between the numbers this weekend. That's a Brian Flores stat. He's been absolutely unreal and deserves all of the flowers for what he has done, not just this season, but last season too.
Yeah, MK, simply put, number one, if you're bad on first down against this defense, you're not going to score 10 points in the football game. They will skunk you. Number two, we often talk about like disguising stuff and confusing quarterbacks. Everybody on the offense gets confused when you play Minnesota. There was that clip, the first one that you showed when you were talking. The 5 offensive linemen turn around and CG's on his back. They ain't blocking nobody. This defense, No question going to be a top 5 unit in the NFL.
Nobody wants to face him, that's for sure. Good point, Dan. It's not just the quarterbacks, like the entire
Everybody.
offense trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
First Sunday, and of course, Sunday Night Football. The Chiefs and the Falcons. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs visiting Kirk Cousins on Sunday night. Everybody's ears are normal in this game. We're going to pick it up in the second. Chiefs in the red zone, trailing by a touchdown. Mahomes hits Rashee Rice for the completion.
Yeah, motion down, stack, run away. Easy touchdown for this offense. But Atlanta did a lot of good stuff. I like down in the red zone, Bijan, the physical run to get it in.
Falcons leading 14-13 going into the half, and under 6 left in the third. Mahomes taking the snap. He finds Rashee Rice for the game.
Cross-country routes, this was a couple times in the second half for this offense, and then Juju Smith-Schuster just on that little intermediate mesh. A hesitation by that defense, easy, shallow touchdown.
To the fourth quarter, and it's late now. Kirk Cousins trying to make something happen.
Face mask or higher, Ruddy. Face mask or higher, the Kyle Pitts.
Doesn't happen. There was some contact on that, as you see right there, but no call there. I hear you grumbling, Swagoo. Under 3 to play. The Chiefs need to make a first down. Mahomes looking to Xavier Worthy, but it's incomplete, so the Falcons get the ball back. They've got another chance right here. And a minute to go. Robinson taking the handoff, but he's stuffed.
It's a Chiefs defense that did a really good job in both plays, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 at the point of attack, both in runs free, unblocked. I like the aggression by the Falcons. Chiefs make the play.
Falcons showed up, but the Chiefs end up winning in Atlanta 22-17, and the Chiefs' physicality on defense has carried over from last season. They rank top 3 in the NFL in pressures, QB hits, and forced fumbles. They've now had at least 10 pressures in 5 consecutive games dating back to last season. Chris Jones, as you might imagine, has 16 of the Chiefs' 40 pressures this season, which is tied for the league lead with Aiden Hutchinson. He's like his own defense out there. I think we said that about TJ Watt yesterday in the What? Stop it, you two. All right, Mina, this was a defense that carried Kansas City to the Super Bowl win, right? How are they performing on the field this season, though?
You know, what really jumped out to me in this one was the run defense was just a little bit up and down last year. It was good in the postseason, but in this one, limiting Bijan Robinson, it's a group effort, and I thought the entire defense, all 3 levels, played really well. What really jumped out was what you see there, which was the backfield penetration. Some of that was sending defense backs on early downs, which Spags has always been great at. A lot of it was those DTs keeping things clean for the linebackers like Nick Bolton to come through and make stops. Chris Jones didn't light up the stat sheet in pressures in this one, but he was phenomenal at controlling the line of scrimmage. I just thought top to bottom, a really great group effort from this entire Chiefs defense to stop Bijan.
Yeah, Spags is the biggest coach speaks defensive coordinator in the NFL. What I mean by that is, like, you hear defensive coaches and you'll sit down in games with them and ask them and be like, what's the key to the game? And he'll be like, stop the run. And you're like, everyone says that. Get him to 3rd down so we can use our blitz package. Everyone says that. The Chiefs just actually do it. I mean, they do an unbelievable job of setting the edge. You are not going to run at them. Mina, you mentioned it. When they get into situations, the run blitz is going to come. Their whole goal, get you into 3rd and obvious pass, and then those crazy blitz packages and pressures are coming. And it's so easy to say as a defense, we got to stop the run. Very few coaches do exactly what is necessary to do that one thing, and then it's all connected. RC knows this. Marcus knows this. They stop the run, and then the mad scientist gets to work in their blitz packages, and he's really the walking embodiment of that right now.
Well, also, too, though, you have to have the guys to do this. Obviously, everything starts with Chris Jones, and on the back end, I think it's surrounded, and they do things based off of Trent McDuffie now, who can move both inside and out. But at the second level, it's Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton was the guy that was added to the rush so many times yesterday. He made the big plays in stopping the runs off of the edge. He shot the gap on the huge 4th down. I felt like Nick Bolton has been the unsung hero of this defense for a few years now, even dating back to making the huge play with the strip fumble of Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl. I thought that he was the leader of this defense last night, and when you have a sort of deficiency with Snead now gone outside, you're going to need a playmaker in the second level and back end, and Nick Bolton just might be that guy.
Love when we do this. Dan, you referenced earlier when we were talking about Brian Flores, with Minnesota and how he's now dictating.
Yep.
Well, Spags is another godfather at doing that.
Yeah.
And I want to show you guys what I mean.
Yep.
And when we talk about simulated pressure or when we talk about dictating the defense, I think this is a great example of how you dictate to a defense. You walk Nick Bolton up to your point, RC in the A-gap. Got to respect that. Karlaftis drops out. It's only a 4-man rush, but you get a free hitter because you've already dictated where they will send the protection by walking Nick Bolton up in the A-gap. I think a lot of times, too, man, like the one common theme since we've been doing this show, but especially this year in particular, when you see offenses kind of getting back more to the ground game is the defensive coordinators that are not waiting.
Yeah.
Are you waiting on to see what the offense is doing, or are you trying to force them into what you want to see them do? Him and Flores doing it at the best. Spags has been doing it at the best because he does it in Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I thought this was crazy, too. I mean, it's almost like he just plays around with quarterbacks sometimes.
Yeah.
The Chiefs blitzed Kirk
fun.
Cousins on 9 of his 15 dropbacks in the fourth quarter after doing so just 3 times in the first 3 quarters.
Sometimes you got to go get it, Laura.
Where's all this coming from? I'm sure he expected it. We're back on NFL Live, and how about the Cowboys and the Ravens? Cowboys looking to bounce back from last week's loss, and the Ravens trying not to go 0-3. Early third quarter, Derrick Henry bouncing it to the left side, diving into the end zone for the touchdown.
Yeah, not bouncing back from a loss, but bouncing off the big 260-pound all-pro tailback. Easy touchdown for that Ravens offense.
You'll hear from Micah Parsons in a little bit, but he wasn't happy. 9 minutes left in the game. The Cowboys trail 28-6, and Dak Prescott makes something happen, sneaking it in for the score. Cowboys fail the 2-point conversion, so they trail 28-12. Now going for the onside kick there, and Brandon Aubrey's kick takes a few bounces, recovered by Cowboys. C.J. Goodwin. The Cowboys get the ball right back. So 7 minutes to go. 2nd and 10 now for the Cowboys. The Baltimore 15, and Jalen Tolbert able to haul that one in.
Yeah, Dak did a really good job of just giving this team a chance. He sees down the middle of the field. He checked this play at the line of scrimmage to Turpin. The corner plays outside. He throws it on that back shoulder to the comeback, or the corner, and he fought his absolute tail off to make that comeback.
Don't call it a comeback yet, because Lamar Jackson's still trying to make sure it's done, and he does that. Able to get it there.
Do you think the Cowboys thought Lamar would potentially run the football there?
I did.
Oh, my God.
We all did. That iced the game. And here's Micah Parsons. After this loss, the Ravens win 28-25.
Right now, we got people just trying to be Superman. People just got to own their jobs, bro. We don't need everyone to be Superman. We don't need no Supermans at all. We just need 11 guys playing together. And right now, it's just not in unison. But it has to come together. You know, it's humbling. You know, at your all-time high, God always finds a way to put you back down. And right now, we're low.
I mean, the problem is, Swag, with this team, and this your squad, bro, when you think about how they need to approach stopping the run, what haven't they done to make a change from last season when we saw them end against the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, it's funny, RC. We talk about alignment when we talked about Philly going to a bare front. And I know it's like it seems like a complex thing. It's really not. You're playing the same techniques from a different position. Dallas right now, two things happen when you can't stop the run, right? We could talk about the physicality and all of that. But when you're thinking and unsure of where you're fitting, you know how that goes. It becomes a problem. And then the displacement looks even worse. Here, you get a bubble where Derrick Henry bounces back to, but look at the line displacement in this situation. Look at the room. And he's not touched until he gets up on the safety Wilson. And then at that point, you got 250 pounds coming downhill without anything stopping him. RC, I heard you say this 2-3 years ago. You got to get Derrick Henry to shuffle. If you get him to shuffle, he's not a problem in the game. People lost their mind. Oh, he don't think Derrick Henry physical. Derrick Henry is not physical before he gets to the line of scrimmage.
But when he get there, though.
When he get there, if it's a piece of light, he's going to dominate the back end of your defense. But you saw the space, you see the displacement, and that's a reoccurring theme since last year.
Yeah, and my big thing is this team is meant to play ahead, right? You talk about Michael Parsons even saying he lost some weight this offseason to be faster, to be quicker. That's not what they need. They need people movers. Yeah. They need people movers up front like we see in a DeMarcus Lawrence, someone that could displace the line of scrimmage. When you look at the second level, playing with Overshown and playing with Kendricks, these are sideline-to-sideline guys, but people aren't playing a lateral game with the Dallas Cowboys. Mina, you think that is something on the second level that needs to change for this team?
Well, I was watching all of the zone, because the Ravens just hammered zone read in this one, right? And I was watching him trying to figure out if structurally there was anything they could do different, because they handled it pretty much the same way the entire game. They stayed in single high, and then they counted on the linebacker to run a scrape exchange, and most of the time it didn't work, and you had defensive backs, taking bad angles. Do you think that structurally there's any, because we're talking about the personnel, do you think there's anything that Mike Zimmer could do differently than what they're doing? Because I'm watching it and I'm trying to find an answer, and it's really hard with the personnel that they have.
Well, the personnel was something they put together last year to play the way that Dan Quinn wanted to play football. So I thought that we would see some changes. I thought that we would bring in some space eaters, some people on the second level that were more downhill linebackers, but they didn't make any of those changes. And so structurally, there are going to have to be more five-man fronts. You're going to have to add people from the back end into the run front right away. It's not going to be a disguise. You can't be in a two-shell. Yeah. You need to line up as a backer. And until they do that, I believe that this team's in trouble, but then you're susceptible to the pass.
Yeah, Dan, what did you see from this defense when you watched it?
Same stuff I've seen for 2 years. One, they got bad eye discipline. 2, they can't handle motion. And 3, Micah's going to be put in conflict. So, I hear how you guys talking. You're making great points, but it's the same stuff. There's no adjustment. Number 1, you can't handle the motion. The motion gets going horizontal. They bring the tight end from the top of the screen all the way across, and then there's a ton of flow. They're just making Micah unblocked. And Micah's the decision maker, or the person they're making the decision of. Micah's just chasing down the back. Nobody is flowing over the top for the most dangerous running quarterback in all of football. So the motion with that, they struggle with. Number 2, eye discipline. Everybody. This is an under center. You know this, play action pass.
He was wide open too, bro.
At some point, we got to have responsibility for but this is a 1-yard throw that goes for 30 yards.
Yeah.
That's just basic fundamental defense of you got to have your eyes in the right place. And then I talked about this, Micah in conflict. This has happened quite literally since he's come into the NFL. If he goes downhill, Lamar's going to be the ball carrier. If he stays outside, they'll hand it off. He goes to chase the back. Yeah. There's no one out there for contain. So I know they got to get bigger defensive tackles and everything, but teams are doing the same stuff to that same player.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that against Miami last year.
18 times for 113. Yeah, totally. Yeah. 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry between the tackles on Sunday, to the points that you're all making.